So we will start the webinar now, and I'd like to welcome you all to this PKD live event on ARPKD. A few introductions. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tess Harris. I'm the CEO of the PKD Charity. And I'm joined here by two of our PKD staff members, colleagues. That's Jane Pugh, our Communications Events Manager, who's been communicating with you all and managing the setup of this webinar. And Susan Muirhead, our Support Manager, who some of you may know through our Facebook groups or having used a helpline to speak to Susan. We're also highly delighted to have with us some fantastic speakers today. So we have Dr. Manish Sinha, who's here now with us. He's Consultant Paediatric Nephrologist at the Evelina Children's Hospital in London. And then Dr. Larissa Karachuk, who's also here with us, and she's a Consultant Paediatric Nephrologist at Birmingham Children's Hospital. And also on the panelist this morning is Dr. Max Liebau, Consultant Paediatric Nephrologist, who's joining us from Cologne in Germany. So thanks very much, Max, for flying in today to join our webinar. And later, we'll be joined by Dr. Tassos Grammatikopoulos, who's Consultant Paediatric Hepatologist, a liver doctor at King's, and Mr. Nikos Katsaris, Consultant Transplant Surgeon. A little bit about the PKD Charity before we begin. We were founded in 2000, so we're just over 20 years old now, by a PKD patient and a kidney doctor. And we're actually primarily led by people affected by PKD or their family members. And our vision is to improve the health and quality of life of everyone affected by PKD and help find new treatments that will slow down or prevent the condition progressing. The way we do it is we provide support. So we give personalised and peer support through a variety of ways, online, face-to-face, or phone. We organise events like this. Usually these are held around the UK, and some of you may well have attended some of our face-to-face events in the past. But of course, these days, we're doing them virtually by Zoom. And also we have a moderated ARPKD face group, which is lively and dynamic, and many of you will be on that Facebook group. If you're not, we can drop a link into the chat on Zoom to let you know how to join that. We also fund research, particularly into better understanding of ARPKD. And to that end, we've funded what's called a biobank of tissue, that's kidneys, from the parents, children with ARPKD have donated to the biobank at the Royal Free in London. And there's over 2,500 samples there, which are being used throughout the UK in research. And we've just come to the end of 3-year funding of a PhD student at Wolverhampton University, who's been looking at particular gene which might modify the progression of ARPKD. Finally, we do a lot of awareness and advocacy. ARPKD is a very rare condition, not very well known. And so we do a lot to raise awareness and bring the voice and the stories of individuals and families affected by ARPKD to the public and policymakers. And a special day for us, of course, is February the 28th or the 29th in leap years, which is Rare Disease Day, and we try and raise more awareness of ARPKD. We're very grateful that we're able to put on events like this, thanks to a grant we had from the National Lottery Community Fund. Just a quick disclaimer that this is a webinar for information purposes only, and it's not a substitute for professional medical advice or medical examination. You must always consult your doctor, pharmacist, or any other medical professional if you've got any concerns about your care. And we will not be promoting or recommending any specific treatments or products. Now, a lot of you are familiar with Zoom by now, but you might not have used the webinar features in Zoom. You're probably more used to having a meeting where you can all see yourselves and chat away. But with the webinar, we're in what's called listen-only mode, and we do this to protect your privacy, because this webinar is being recorded and these talks will be available on YouTube later. And we don't want you to be shown to the world. The only information that will be shown to the world will be the content of the slides. But you can, of course, interact with us through asking questions. So have a look on your device or your desktop, whatever you're using, for these speech bubbles, where you'll see little symbols followed by Q&A. And what we'd like you to do is ask your questions through the Q&A, and not through any chat that might be popping up on your screen. It's easier for us to manage the Q&A. You can also ask questions anonymously, therefore not even showing your name. And the questions will could either be answered directly into the Q&A box if it's easy, or one of the speakers will answer the question live. We will try to answer all the questions, but if there's not enough time, you can always send us a follow-up by emailing us at info@pkdcharity.org.uk. As I said, we're recording it, uploading it to our website and to YouTube for later viewing. So this is the programme. I'm going to hand over in a minute to Manish, who will be chairing and introducing the speakers thereafter. And so Manish will then introduce Dr. Larissa, and then move on to Max. And then at 11:30, we'll have a short break of 15 minutes before coming back and hearing from Dr. Tassos and Nikos. There's an opportunity at the end for some Q&A, and that will be, several of the speakers will be staying on to answer questions at that time on any other topics that they haven't been able to answer earlier. So I will now stop my slides and hand over to Manish.